Hi everybody, it's Joe Cioffi here, Fios 1 News Long Island and Fios 1 News New Jersey. We'll be ushering in the arrival of Joe Rayo, Fios 1 News Hudson Valley shortly. I hope everybody had a terrific day, and I see a few of you are beginning to get on board here on this rather cloudy Friday night. Mike Masco is on, my buddy Mike. Good to see you. I hope everything is well. Susan Grebe is on. Say hi to John for me. And, of course, Tricia Cucciaro. Say hi to Robert. Jason Barry, Stephen Franco jumping on board. Jennifer Allmuller. Hi back to you. And Wayne Stuckert and Addison Green, who doesn't have to get up early tomorrow so he can stay awake for a few extra hours. It's always Addison. It is very good to see you. And Timothy Veltman, who was on my YouTube live stream an hour and a half ago, is now on. The retired Gert Hall, nice to see you here. Joyce Ann Mole in Pennsylvania. Steve LaPointe, haven't seen you in a while. Jane Angelis, Rory Prager Brown, James Hallmark, and Gary Wayrich. All on board. So I think I ran the slew of names before we wind up going through the entire population of our pages. Let's take a look at where we're going this weekend. We've got actually a kind of a strange weather weekend because of the fact that we are going to be seeing some rather big swings over the next 4 or 5 days. Not that it's unusual to see that. Obviously, we've gotten used to quite a few things over the last couple of months. But we are going to see a pretty strong upper air storm that's going to come into the eastern part of the United States that is going to make for a very cold and unstable atmosphere over Sunday into Monday morning. So we're going to be dealing with perhaps some scattered showers. One of those days, kind of like one of those days you get in the late October or early November when you get the first real invasion of cold air coming down. This is going to be more like the last cold invasion, hopefully, of cold air that we're going to see in a while, and the atmosphere is going to react accordingly. Mr. Rayo was just kind of describing what's going on this weekend is kind of like what you see in late October or early November, where when you get the first real cold shot that comes down from Canada.
Right.
You know, the day might start out with some sun, but you get all the clouds start bubbling up, and then you get some showers that pop up here and there. And we were talking the last couple of days about the fact that maybe we might see what we call those low-top thunderstorms that could develop.
Well, that's interesting because the folks over at, and I'm not using this as a way to knock anybody, but the National Weather Service over in Upton, the New York City National Weather Service office, is going against that because they claim, or they say that in their opinion, there's going to be a cap at 700 millibars that is going to effectively preclude what we normally would see in this type of situation, which would be the type of thunderstorm activity that would produce hail and that sort of stuff. But on the other hand, the specialists, the ones who deal in severe weather, the National
Storm Prediction Center
out in Oklahoma, they haven't put us in a severe area, but they have outlined a part of the tri-state area in the possibility for thunderstorm activity tomorrow night. Maybe just to be on the safe side, and it could be. It's all going to be a matter. I think it's going to be a matter of just how warm it's going to get here tomorrow. It's looking more and more like we could get into the low and maybe even mid-70s in places.
Certainly away from the ocean, I think that will be the case. How much low cloudiness forms overnight and gets in there tomorrow morning. I did notice that the latest RPM was showing a little bit less in the low cloud cover and fog, and that there might be a bit more sun. The temperatures, I think in the western counties of New Jersey, you could see readings up at around 73 or 4, not impossible. So we'll see what happens. I don't think anything's going to be severe, though.
Well, already I might point out, though, that in eastern Pennsylvania, maybe you want to bring this up, I believe there's a severe thunderstorm warning that's up for a part of eastern Pennsylvania. At least I got a glimpse of that a few moments ago.
We can bring up the radar here. So,
And what I think is going to happen tomorrow, Joe, is that toward the mid and late afternoon over parts of central and eastern Pennsylvania, I think we're going to see some of the activity begin to blossom and become quite intense, and we may very well see some thunderstorm activity develop. And then it's going to be a question as to how long they can maintain that strength as they continue to move eastward into perhaps the tri-state area or maybe into western New Jersey before they begin to fizzle out under the cover of darkness tomorrow night.
What we're seeing here, the showers that are up in Maine, that is the system that went through earlier today. The one that is now moving across western and central Pennsylvania, if you look on the leading edge of it, it looks like there's a little bit of a line there of storms that has formed, but that's all going to fall apart before it gets here.
Right.
That's moving across into northeastern PA, and by the time it gets there later tonight into tomorrow morning in the early morning hours, this should all pretty much fall apart. He wants me to, okay, I'll take care of that. I got to take care of something, Joe. So we've got those two systems, but the one to watch, I think, is the one right behind that one. So I'll bring up that radar, and
You want me to blither for a few minutes? Well,
if you would, I'll bring the radar up front and center for you, and you can blither away. There's also some strong storms off the southeast coast of Florida. I will be right back.
Okay, all right. Well, it's then my pleasure to man the main seat here. Joe is the guy who is in charge of setting all of this up. I just the reason why, as I mentioned this last night, the reason why I'm always late. Joe starts this off, kicks this off, and I come in a couple of minutes later. It's because I'm back in the Maine weather office, and I'm actually putting this on both of my Facebook pages. I'm putting it on the my professional page, my FiOS 1 page, but also putting it on my personal page. So this way people who follow me both on the FiOS 1 page and my personal page can also join in on our nightly Joe and Joe talk. Now let's check out the radar, and I do notice that we do have a narrow band of showers and maybe a couple of embedded thunderstorms. And as I said, I noticed that for a part of central or east central Pennsylvania, there's actually some severe thunderstorm warnings that have been posted, I would presume, for that narrow band of precipitation, again, moving through central Pennsylvania. Notice also that there is a more prolific swath of moisture that's in the vicinity of Chicago and across portions of northern or northwestern Indiana and north central Illinois. That is associated with the cold front that will be working its way through our area probably about this time tomorrow night. And again, I've been saying that because the air associated with that cold front, the air behind that cold front is so very chilly and very unstable that we may be in line for not just a few scattered showers, but there might be, and in the month of April, and sometimes even into May too, you sometimes see a situation where when these pools of unusually chilly air drop on down into from Canada and into a milder air mass, such as what we're going to be into tomorrow, that you sometimes see these, well, the weather forecast...
For a change, I get to walk in and slam the door.
The forecasters sometimes call these hailers, so to speak, because of the fact that they sometimes drop pea-sized hail. And that is the contentious issue here is that the folks at Oklahoma at the Storm Prediction Center are suggesting we could see something along those lines tomorrow. Our local National Weather Service forecast office in New York City, actually in eastern Long Island, Upton, not too far away from Brookhaven Labs in Suffolk County, they're saying that the thunderstorms are not likely because there's going to be basically a cap, or not an inversion, but just a cap that's going to prevent the atmosphere from getting that unstable to produce showers and thunderstorms at the 700 millibar level. That's how high up. That's what, 8,000 or 9,000 feet?
Yeah, roughly $9,000.
Yeah, so we'll see. But in any case, it's well worth mentioning that that is a possibility. In fact,
this is right now, by the way. This is up until tomorrow morning. So
okay.
The general area of thunderstorms
it's
being
not too
shown.
far from us.
No, this is because of that Excuse me. This is because of that batch that's moving across Pennsylvania now.
Right.
They had a marginal risk off of southeast of Florida. They got rid of that.
Right.
And they also had this general area out in the west. But for tomorrow, if you give me a chance, I can just pop up tomorrow's. 1 second. This will just take me a moment. And we'll bring up the Storm Prediction Center's one for Saturday. No severe. In fact, they're not even indicating at least into.
Oh, now that's changed.
Now they changed it, so now they have an area in upstate New York and northern Vermont, but they've got no thunderstorm risk at all during the day tomorrow. So go figure. You know what? If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's not a huge deal here with regards to if it does, but we'll just leave it there. But you've got a pretty strong. Here, I'll put the surface map up. Look what a mess the East is in when you look at it. I mean, there's just this is a problem when you have
amorphous system.
Right,
yeah.
Three weather systems, three upper air shortwave troughs running around, all unfazed. They're all relatively weak, and as a result, you've got this mess. With three weather systems almost back to back on top of each other, and at least we catch some breaks in between, so that we should have at least some sun for tomorrow. Meanwhile, you can see how dry it is out back up through the plains and into the northern Rockies here, and the bluish areas and into California. Hardly any cloud cover there, and this is where the warm air is going to start building over the next several days. It's going to eventually come into the eastern part of the United States.
It's such a concentrated, it's relatively small. It's only going to encompass Sunday into Monday, but it's amazingly cold. We're talking about temperatures at the 500 millibar level, Joe. That's 18,000 feet above our heads, of 25 to 30 degrees below 0 Celsius, and at the 850 millibar level, which is about 4,500 feet above our heads, going down to somewhere between 4 and 6 degrees below 0 Celsius.
Well, we'll pull up the 850 temperatures. Give me 1 second.
And that's pretty darn cold for this time of the year. And with thickness values, and remember yesterday I said that when we have a thickness at the 500 millibar level of about 540 or less, that could sometimes be, or you can assume that they may be cold enough for some frozen precipitation. We're well into that. We're below 540. You can see that by the shade of blue here that that's the cold air.
Right, that's the zero line. That's the freezing line at about 4,500 feet, right over western Long Island into coastal New Jersey, and from there westward. And you've got this big patch of the darker blues, which is almost -5. I mean, that's pretty cold for this time of year.
Right.
And gradually, as that cold air, that upper low move out, that cold air does moderate. The strengthening April sun does a good job with it. To try to get rid of it, so that by Monday afternoon it's shrinking, but we're still pretty cold here Monday afternoon, still below 0 at that level, and finally by Monday evening it pulls out, and when you see the yellows out to the west, that's all plus 10, so 50 degrees or higher at that level of the atmosphere. That warmer air is pushing eastward, and that's what finally gets in here Tuesday night, and then for Wednesday we're at like plus 15, plus, that's pretty warm.
Yeah. And of course, you get that cold air on Sunday and Monday in the upper levels of the atmosphere. If the sun manages to break through for any length of time and work on that cold air, you immediately will see the clouds building back up. It's what I've sometimes referred to as self-destruct sunshine. The sun actually works against you in that situation. And in the summertime, of course, when we get into July and August and you get that kind of situation where you get a front or some unstable air building in ahead of a very warm or hot air mass, and the sun is beating down, that sunshine could lead again to potential severe thunderstorm in the afternoon and early evening. In fact, I don't know why it crossed my mind, but I was driving to work this afternoon, and all of a sudden, a word that doesn't often pop into my head popped into my head: derecho.
Oh, jeez.
And a derecho is kind of like when we talk about a sharp cold front ushering in colder air. Sometimes with a derecho, you get one of these situations where there's a sudden explosion of exceedingly warm air that builds in, and that works in the same manner. All of a sudden, you get these potent thunderstorms with powerful winds. We've had a couple of those over
every once in a while. They do rip through, but not now.
Not now. Not
right. Here's the temperatures for tomorrow afternoon on the late afternoon GFS at 2 o'clock. Every bit of upper 60s and low 70s. So I think that's certainly is in line with what we were saying earlier. But once that front goes by, by Sunday morning, it's in the 40s and even the lower 40s and a few upper 30s at 8 in the morning.
Right.
And back into just in the 50s on Sunday. Now we should be. I went to check the normals today at the Weather Service office for New York because I forgot what the exact number is. And of course, I was not able to get into the climate page.
Well, in the Hudson Valley,
and it looks like I still not. I'm thinking, what is it now? About 67 or 8?
Well, the Hudson Valley, I was going to say 65, 66. So you get a temperature of only 54 or 53 or whatever. That's more than 10 degrees below normal. So that's fairly significant. By the way, I mentioned the last few nights about Sunday night being very cold, but now it's looking like Monday is going to turn out to be rather cloudy and unsettled. And it's going to be cloudy on Sunday too, so there may not necessarily be much in the way of clear sky. And if we don't get that
I'm thinking you're gonna have the clouds Sunday. I don't think you have to worry about frost, but it still brings temperatures down in the mid 30s to low 40s. So that's pretty cold. You can see where the blue is. That's where it's all below freezing.
Right.
But I'm thinking along the lines of the fact that there won't be a frost issue. And then by Monday afternoon, you've got 60s into central New Jersey. But still mostly 50s for northern New Jersey and Long Island. That could be a result of just a lot of cloud cover, perhaps holding temperatures back.
Well, the upper air kind of suggests that there's going to be some kind of a trough that's going to be swinging around through the northeast on Monday. And whereas I know when I came in, you were discussing the pattern for Sunday. Sunday looks like a day where if we get any precipitation, it's going to be by virtue of these pop-up areas, a little bit of convection here and there, but really nothing really to drive or force moisture out of those clouds. But on the other hand, if that trough is indeed true and does come through on Monday, there's your driver for producing a better chance for showers. And Addison Green, I wonder if he's watching right now.
He was on.
Addison and I were discussing earlier this afternoon, should we mention for the Hudson Valley the possibility of maybe a few flakes of wet snow or a pellet or two of ice or sleet on Monday? Because the air is still, by Monday, aloft is going to be so cold that...
Right. Well, here's that up. I pulled up the 500 millibar here.
Yeah, there it is.
And this is Sunday, and there's one jet streak that goes by, and there's the next. You see, this is for Sunday night. You can see how the curls here that run across upstate New York. Then there's another one where the low center is, but each one of these kind of spirals through. So this is for Monday morning.
Right.
So I mean, look at this on Monday afternoon. This is at 2 o'clock, running straight down the Hudson Valley over Long Island.
Right, and the RPM was suggesting as of midday on Monday that there would actually be a swath, a rather significant swath, I might add, in northeast Pennsylvania, probably over the higher terrain, the Poconos, for example, and perhaps leading up to the Catskills, of snow and sleet. And the question in our minds were, would that possibly hold together and possibly translate into maybe a few flakes of snow or sleet working their way all the way down? Now, temperatures would be in the 50s or maybe the upper 40s.
Well, there's the swath on the NAM,
and
it's all rain, but that's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But this is actually Sunday at 8 p.m.
Right.
And then during the overnight in the Poconos there, and just touching maybe some of the Catskills, and then of course after that it's just done.
Well, it will be interesting. I could just see that someplace gets a. On Monday you look out the way. Is that snow or is that sleet? They didn't say that. Well, I'm saying it now, okay, to cover myself. That there may be. They don't rule it out completely. There's a small chance, maybe even a minuscule chance, but there is a small chance that we might see a touch of frozen precipitation. Maybe not necessarily at the Sound Shore, but for the elevated areas in Orange County or up in Sullivan County, Dutchess County, Ulster County. That certainly is a possibility.
Well, let's make everybody happy here. Let me go back to the temperatures for Tuesday. let me see. Yeah, it's hard for me to read this. Okay, so once we get through Monday with whatever it has to offer, by Tuesday, at least from the standpoint of the GFS, it's got temperatures back into the 70s, upper 60s to mid 70s here by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then Wednesday, we've got upper 70s and low 80s. And then Thursday, we've got low and maybe even a few middle 80s in some places. So, that's all seems to be on course here. The other, by the way, I was kind of looking at the long range without getting, too much into it. When I was looking at the long range, Joe, it seemed to me that, I lost us. I always lose us. This is just wrong.
You just got too many windows open.
I do, and you know what happens sometimes is, depending on what map I've got, sometimes they hook together. So I got to bring us back up on the screen. So that'll just take me half a second. I was saying about the long range.
Jason Barry says no showers Monday. Jason, I would say that there's the possibility there may be, again with that upper disturbance, that upper trough, a chance for some precipitation scattered about. We're not talking about a heavy rain or anything, but just some hit or miss showers. There may be a hit or miss shower on Sunday as well. We have to get through all of this dreck, and that will probably be sometime later Monday and Monday night, and then we should be pretty much home free for, well, maybe not necessarily the entire rest of next week. There may be more showers looming for Friday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday look like 3 super days and warmer days, too.
I go grab another question in the meantime.
Oh, grab another question. Can see the Catskills on my commute home, and they're still white with snow. Well, some of the Catskill Mountains reach up, there's one mountain, Crane Mountain, that reaches up to about 4,000 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And, it really, the Adirondacks are thought to be the major mountain range in New York State, but their highest mountain, Mount Marcy, is only 5,200 feet. It's not too much higher than what you see in the Catskills. The Catskills have some very tall peaks, so you could still get.
When I drove back from Connecticut, so I was just north of Route 84 in Litchfield County. We passed a ski resort up there, and there was still snow on one of the runs. It was broken and all. On its way to being gone in a few more days, but it was still clearly evident up and down the entire run. Let's see if we got a few other people. Let's see. Bob Apple pointed that Weather Service showing no strong storms for southeastern PA, but this is the time of year where hail is an inch or larger. Well, I know the storms that are on tonight are that are in central PA tonight should fall apart. So I don't think that's going to be an issue for you. Whether anything forms over the weekend, we'll see. In the meantime,
watermelon-sized hail.
Yes, watermelons the size of hail. Meanwhile, let's call it a night.
John Schultz did a lot better. Than
great fishing on the great side. John, I'm assuming you're talking about striped bass, because I've been hearing a lot from a few friends of mine that the stripers are going nuts, and they're hitting them pretty good. So that's good for you. That's very, very good to hear. Now we can say goodbye, because we addressed the most important thing that we can address here, which is fishing.
Okay.
So tonight, of course, top of the hour, you can get me, Fios 1 News Long Island and Fios 1 News New Jersey.
And Fios 1 News Lower Hudson Valley for yours truly. And we're off for a couple of days on weekend leave, and we'll be back on Monday, and we'll see how this all pans out in the chill.
Agreed.
But again, when we come back on Monday, we'll have some great news, because the warming trend will only be 24 hours away by that time.
Yeah, and you know what? Get it here, because I'm just tired of this nonsense. Have a great weekend, folks. So we will see you back on Monday.
Au revoir.